Did these iconic celebrities, who shone behind the scenes and in the spotlight, truly take their final bow? Or are they hiding a mystery beyond anyone's imagination? Today, we embark on a journey through the most popular theories surrounding fake deaths. From Michael Jackson to Tupac, Elvis Presley to Marilyn Monroe, rumors and theories that these pop culture icons are still alive have captivated audiences for years. Since 2014, our channel has explored fake death claims, fan theories, and intriguing details, particularly regarding Michael Jackson and other notable celebrities. However, I want to clarify, I'm not saying I believe every name on this list is still alive. The theories I share here aren't my personal beliefs. They're speculations created by fans and popularized over time. So, are you ready to explore what lies behind these mysteries with us? Although theories about some celebrities being alive are purely products of imagination, some contain intriguing details and claims that can't easily be dismissed. We know that the loss of these beloved icons has left a significant void for their fans. While most theories proposed to fill this void are speculative, certain cases present a more complex picture. In particular, theories about figures like Michael Jackson, Tupac, and Elvis have intensified due to mysterious events, witness testimonies, and sometimes surprisingly convincing evidence. Some witnesses claim to have seen these icons under different identities. Some older interviews are interpreted as containing deliberate, cryptic messages. While some dismiss this as fan fiction, others find these theories eerily credible. In this segment, we'll share not only conspiracy theories but also cases with truly intriguing details that raise doubts. While none of these theories can offer us absolute proof, they do provide compelling claims for those who believe some celebrities are still alive. If you enjoyed the video and have subscribed, let's dive in. 20. James Dean. The theory that James Dean's death was faked stems from his status as Hollywood's rebellious icon and his tragic passing at a young age. Although he was reported to have died in a car accident in 1955, some fans believe this death wasn't real and that Dean chose to live a life away from the public eye. According to these theories, Dean's death may have been a staged event in Hollywood, a path he might have chosen to escape fame. Some theorists point to mysterious details about Dean's body after the accident, noting that varying accounts from witnesses and contradictory reports about the scene fuel these doubts. 19. Jimi Hendrix. Theories that Jimi Hendrix is still alive are fueled by his young and sudden death. Although he was reported to have passed away in a London hotel room in 1970, some fans interpret this as a fake death. According to the theories, Hendrix may have wanted to escape the pressures of fame and lead a private life. Supporters of these theories frequently mention contradictory statements and certain ambiguities in the autopsy report. An interesting theory about Hendrix is the idea that he is actually Morgan Freeman. This theory was sparked by the resemblance between Freeman's facial features and Hendrix's as Freeman aged. Supporters argue that Hendrix withdrew from the music world under a fake death to live under a new identity. However, numerous factors, like the inconsistencies in their birth dates and life stories, debunk this theory, relegating it to the realm of an entertaining conspiracy theory. 18. Bruce Lee theories that Bruce Lee is alive emerged from his sudden and young death, alongside the inevitable conspiracies that arose around one of Hollywood's biggest action stars. Although he was reported to have died of cerebral edema in 1973, some fans believe he is not truly gone. According to these theories, Lee may have staged his death to withdraw from the martial arts world and retreat into a private life. Those who support this theory suggest that Lee may have encountered issues with the Chinese mafia or the film industry and took this route to ensure his safety. If you ask for my opinion, I lean toward the theory that Lee was killed by the mafia. 17. Marilyn Monroe. Those who believe Marilyn Monroe is alive claim her death in 1962 was a staged event, with the purpose of covering up secrets related to the American government or intelligence agencies. According to these theories, Monroe had formed close connections with certain political figures and was seen as a threat due to her knowledge of state secrets. Theorists argue that, for this reason, a fake death scenario was devised, leading her to begin a new life in secrecy. However, these claims lack concrete evidence and remain purely speculative. 16. John Lennon. The theory that John Lennon's death was staged stems from his political activism, his conflicts with the US government at the time, and his behavior following his departure from the Beatles. In 1980, Lennon was reportedly shot and killed in New York by Mark David Chapman. However, some fans believe that this death never actually happened, and that Lennon chose to fake his death and live a quiet life in secrecy. According to supporters of this theory, Lennon's political stance and pro-peace activism were seen as a threat by the government of that era. They believe he may have made a covert agreement with the government or intelligence agencies to continue his life under a new identity. The idea that Lennon's death was staged is also fueled by contradictory witness statements, claims that Chapman lacked sufficient motivation, and some peculiar statements Lennon made shortly before his death. Some theorists, in particular, highlight Lennon's remarks in interviews just before his reported death, in which he hinted at feeling uneasy. In these interviews, he allegedly made cryptic references to death, which are often cited as evidence supporting the theory. However, these theories lack concrete evidence and are largely speculative.
Diana, Princess of Wales, was the most photographed woman in the world until August 31, 1997, when she had a car accident in a tunnel in Paris. Official records state that the 36-year-old died after suffering a heart attack due to injuries sustained in the accident. The only topic of discussion about Princess Diana, a member of the British royal family, is not how she died. There has always been talk that there is a possibility of her living. Some people believe that Diana, who got rid from the royalty, is living a calm life. Some people said they saw her with a baby in her hands in a wheelchair. And her son, Prince Harry, says he believed Princess Diana might still be alive until he was 23. And he said that he used to have a lot of hope about this. Prince Harry made some stunning statements in an interview with Anderson Cooper. Harry told Anderson Cooper that Prince William had similar thoughts about their mother potentially faking her death to disappear.
You didn't believe she was dead?
For a long time. I just refused to accept that she was gone. Part of, she would never do this to us, but also part of, maybe this is all part of a plan.
I mean, you really believe that maybe she had just decided to disappear for a time?
For a time, and then that she would call us and we would go and join her.
For a long time, I just refused to accept that she was gone. She would never do this to us, but also maybe this is all part of a plan, Harry told Cooper, adding that he believed she had maybe faked her death and would eventually reunite with Harry and Prince William. Harry said he had huge amounts of hope and that his brother William had similar thoughts, adding that he believed Diana might still be alive for many, many years after her death. When he was 20, Harry asked to see the police report and photos from Diana's crash. When asked why, he told Cooper he was still looking for proof. In the interview, Harry told Cooper that he didn't accept her death until he visited Paris, France, for the first time. While there, he instructed his driver to travel through the tunnel where his mother died at the exact same speed, 65 miles per hour. I wanted to see whether it was possible, driving at the speed that Henry Paul was driving, that you could lose control of a car and plow into a pillar, killing almost everybody in that car, Harry said. I need to take this journey. I need to ride the same route. Yes, not every fake death has to leave evidence behind, but it's also not right to talk without evidence. He is a famous plane hijacker. He's also the protagonist of America's only unsolved plane hijacking. After receiving the $200,000 he requested for the plane he hijacked on November 24, he jumped out of the plane with a parachute and was never heard from again. Many people, including the FBI, believe that he is still alive. And in the famous TV series Prison Break, he was portrayed as alive.
Because you still think I'm D.B Cooper? I don't think. I know.
Cooper, who was in the same prison with the character of Michael Scofield, was hiding his true identity from everyone. Heath Ledger's death announcement on January 22, 2008 shocked the world. Since then, millions of fans worldwide have started to believe that the actor's death was a hoax and that he is still alive and well. Some believe it was a murder, while others think the talented actor could still be alive. But why? Why did the Ledger's friend claim that Heath Ledger is still alive? Supposed death in 2008. Hundreds of eyewitnesses claim to have seen him in various cities around the world, including shopping malls, Texas, and even in Perth, his hometown. And then an interesting incident occurred. Tony Kanal, the bassist of the band No Doubt, was shocked by an individual who claimed that Heath Ledger was still alive and living in Tony's house. Tony Kanal had purchased the house from Heath Ledger in 2005. The individual, named George Leonardo Paulos, claimed to be an old friend of Ledger and stated that Ledger, who passed away in 2008, was still living in his former house. Musician Tony Kanal, age 52, has been harassed with his family at his home in Los Angeles for some time, and he filed a lawsuit against a man named George Leonardo Paulos, stating that his family is now afraid of this situation. Leonardo Paulos also threatened Tony Kanal and his family, saying, "If you know what's good for you, you'll let me in." The court issued a restraining order against Leonardo Paulos for disturbing the family. In short, Leonardo Paulos claims that Heath Ledger is still alive and hiding in the house where he used to live. But could Heath Ledger really be alive? There are some suspicious circumstances. First suspicion, time of death. All the news channels and newspapers wrote the time of Ledger's death as 3:36 in the morning. But then the security guard of the apartment building said it was about 3:45. It was okay, Ledger. He was on a phone call with someone. I think the TV was on. But it was 2:45 a.m. when the housekeeper noticed that Ledger was not breathing. Our second suspicion, the foot part in the body bag. Ledger fans claim that the feet of the corpse seen in the body bag are very thin, so there may not be a person in the bag, but a statue made of wax. Although the rest of the body parts are realistic, the foot side looks very thin. Could it be that the bag was stuffed inside and the leg part was forgotten? Our third suspicion, Mary Kate Olsen. When the news of Ledger's death reached Mary Kate Olsen, who we know was a very close friend of Heath, she was at home. And it is said that she didn't even react and even attended a celebration next day. Why would someone not react when their close friend dies? And why would you attend a party and have fun the next day? There are also those who claim that Ledger staged his death because he was overwhelmed by fame and had some difficulties in his life. They suggest that he faked his death to start a normal life and escape from the pressures of fame and his troubled relationship with his wife. And there is one more interesting claim. Fans have suggested that the director of the film, Christopher Nolan, prepared such a plan to boost the film's box office by thinking that the film would not be successful. It is said that Ledger was shown as dead, and the final scene of the film could not be shot because he died. This way, the film would be talked about more, and everyone would go to see the film in honor of Ledger. This theory reminds me of Paul Walker. Let me create another theory for you. Before Ledger's role in the Batman film, he was not famous. That's why Warner Bros. Opposed Nolan, because many people believe that Heath Ledger did not have enough experience to play in a Batman film. Heath Ledger, when looked back today, is among the actors who did justice to the role of the Joker in the best way possible. However, when the name Heath Ledger was announced, people were surprised by this choice, because at that time, although he was successful, he was far from his current fame. But the director Nolan was aware of Ledger's talent and gave him the role of the Joker. Now, let's strain our brains a bit, assuming that Ledger's death was fake in order to understand the reason behind it. Ledger may have seized the opportunity of his life thanks to Nolan. Perhaps Nolan devised a plan to boost the film's box office revenue. He would orchestrate a fake death for Heath Ledger to attract more viewers to the movie. And indeed, the news of Ledger's death propelled the film to break records. The film grossed over $1 billion, making it the highest grossing Batman film to date. Even before its release, Ledger's tragic death and the subsequent rumor of a fake death had piqued people's interest. Many started to believe that Ledger hadn't actually died and that there would be a surprise in the film or that he would appear at an awards ceremony to collect his award. All these theories generated interest in the Batman film. As a result, the film reached $1 billion revenue mark and garnered tremendous attention. In this regard, it also became the first comic book film to surpass the $1 billion milestone in history. So, what does this mean? If Ledger indeed faked his death, Nolan might have been involved in this plan. Nolan gave him the opportunity of his lifetime, But maybe he asked for something significant in return. As part of this role, he wanted Ledger to fake his death. He not only helped him fulfill his dream by giving him the Joker role, but also possibly ensured that he could live a life without having to work, possibly by offering him a substantial share of the box office revenue. At that time, there were also claims that Heath Ledger had debts. Since Nolan couldn't make a fake death offer to an established actor like Christian Bale, his best option was someone who would be interested in a major role and a significant amount of money. That person could only be Heath Ledger. This way, Ledger cemented his place in people's minds with his brilliant performance and the Oscar he won, becoming a legend.
And the Oscar goes to Heath Ledger in the Dark Knight.
No matter how talented Ledger was, Hollywood is ruthless. So Ledger might have never had such an opportunity in his life. A fantastic role, a substantial amount of money, and an Oscar. Ledger may have wanted to embark on a new life, gaining many things. Do the fake deaths in the Batman film give us a clue? In the Batman films directed by Christopher Nolan, we have witnessed several instances of fake deaths. The Joker faked his death by getting inside a body bag. Commissioner Gordon was also believed to have died, but later returned. After the Joker blew up the hospital, it was believed that Harvey Dent had died, but he managed to reappear. And in the final film, everyone thought Batman had died, and they even built him a grave. But Batman wanted to start a new and peaceful life, so he faked his death. So, we have seen numerous instances of fake deaths in the Batman film. What do you think about this theory? Steve Jobs, one of the most important figures in Apple's history, died of cancer in 2011. An interesting claim was put forward for Jobs, who has his signature on Apple's many different special steps. The claim says Steve Jobs didn't actually die. Allegedly, Jobs faked his death and went into a seclusion in Egypt. This photo, allegedly of Jobs, had broken sharing records on social media. My own opinion, I don't believe the person in the photo is Jobs. Even if he faked his death, he can't walk around comfortably without undergoing any plastic surgery. But could he be alive? Everything is possible in life. Due to my researchers and the things I've heard, my philosophy is not to believe in death literally until I see it with my eyes. But in my opinion, it is more likely that he is dead. The probability is 10%. Rumors that he had boarded a plane on the weekend of his death were reinforcing that he was alive. Bandmate keyboardist Ray Manzarek says in a 1973 interview, "To this day, I don't know how this guy died. In fact, I don't even know if he died. No one has ever seen Jim Morrison's body. It was a sealed coffin. Who knows? Who knows how Jim died?" The Doors promoter Ray Manzarek once suggested that another possibility might exist. He recalled a conversation he had with Morrison in 1970. He said he wondered faking his death to start a new life and put his problems behind it. There are people who believe Morrison is alive and well in Oregon. My opinion, there is no evidence that he is alive. This is just hearsay. The news of the death of Amy Winehouse, the British singer and songwriter, adored by millions of people, on July 23, 2011, stunned the world. Since then, millions of fans around the world have come to believe that the singer's death was a hoax, that she is still alive and well. Because, according to fans, there are too many unanswered questions, too many coincidences, too many meaningless things. In addition, since his death in 2011, hundreds of eyewitnesses have claimed to have seen her in many cities of the world, in shopping centers, in taxis, and even in a restaurant in London. Her father, Mitch Winehouse, revealed to reporters one day that he had received phone calls saying that Amy was not actually dead and was living on an island. However, this claim is just a rumor because it does not have enough evidence. Jossie Dwayne Onfroy, known by the stage name XXXTentacion, was an American rapper, singer, and songwriter. Jossie, who released his first song in June 2013, was found dead in his car at June 2018. Jossie, who was shot by robbers, could not be saved despite all the efforts. But some of his fans believe that the rapper is still alive and faked his death. The evidence they put forward to prove their claims is surprising. How is it that there are no broken glass, blood, or bullet holes in the scene where it is said he was shot dead? This is quite surprising. The sad clip, posted on his official YouTube channel on June 28, exactly 10 days after the date of his death, in which where he visits his own grave, also fueled the claims. The song No Pulse, released after his death, was allegedly a reference to his fake death. Despite his young age, he was involved in many criminal cases. In 2018, he was still on trial for 15 serious crimes, and then the news of his death came. Jassé was known to have many enemies. Some say he planned this death to increase his popularity. Could he have set a plan like this to get rid of his enemies and files? Some Nirvana fans have raised claims that Cobain is still with us. There are those who believe Cobain lived in Cork, Ireland, after dropping hints in interviews in the 1990s. While one Twitter user claimed to have seen him in Seattle in 2014. Another Twitter user, Carrie Higgins, claimed that she saw Cobain in a supermarket in Colorado, USA, in 2018. There are a lot of people who claim to have seen Cobain in different locations in different years. In 2012, thousands of people thought the Peruvian guitarist Ramiro Saavedra, who participated in a talent contest, was Cobain. Ramiro had almost the same appearance as the legendary singer, as well as an eerily similar voice. His cover of Nirvana's classic, Come As You Are, suited him perfectly. It was reposted on Reddit in 2017, and viewers flocked to the comments section saying he's alive. Fans believe that Cobain lives a different and happy life. Andy Kaufman, famous for his role as Latka in the TV series Taxi, died of lung cancer at the age of 35 because he didn't tell anyone about his illness until the day he died. Fans didn't accept his death at first and thought it was a joke, and his comedian partner Bob Zmuda said they talked about announcing his death as a joke before his death. Kaufman's friends even prepared a welcome home Andy party at his 20th year thinking he would come home. Even his closest friends and family members thought it was a joke when he died. So even his closest friends didn't believe his death. Kaufman's friends, who told he joked about faking his death a lot, started these rumors at first. As Kaufman's close friend and colleague Bob Zmuda wrote in a recent book, Kaufman, who is famous for his hate for fame, can't disappear suddenly. It is not a coincidence. It seems to be written very perfectly. Zmuda's bizarre book, The Truth, finally exposes the claim that talks about Kaufman's faking his death. He examines all kinds of motives of Kaufman pretending to be dead, some of which seem completely plausible. In the book, Zmuda makes direct calls to Kaufman and calls for him to return. Andy, I know you're reading this. Please come back. Do it for me. Kaufman allegedly started a family for himself, living in Albuquerque. A mysterious woman had claimed to be Andy's daughter and claimed he was alive. In fact, Kaufman's brother, Michael Kaufman, also confirmed this woman. At a comedy club, he read a letter allegedly from Andy and introduced this 24-year-old woman as his brother's daughter. Michael Kaufman read the letter to the audience at Monday's annual Andy Kaufman Awards show. It was too much pressure to be Andy Kaufman. I just wanted to be Andy, Michael Kaufman read. I think that's why I got sick. I had to change completely and quickly. I'm extremely, very happily married with the most wonderful wife in the whole wide world and with the two greatest kids. A 10-year-old daughter and a son who is 8. The mysterious woman said her father faked his own death to escape the limelight and live as a stay-at-home dad. Comedy genius Andy Kaufman had often talked about faking his death and made jokes about his eventual return. My opinion, the fact that his brother confirmed the allegations and his friends believe that he is alive almost confirms this theory.
David Robert Jones, also known as David Bowie, is an English singer, actor, songwriter, and record producer. David Bowie, born on January 8, 1947 in London, England, has reached 140 million album sales worldwide during his career, earning 9 platinum records in the UK and 5 in the United States. Bowie, who is considered one of the most important artists in history, has been an example for countless stars such as Lady Gaga, George Michael, Madonna to this day. He published many important albums and songs. In addition to his singing, Bowie, 69, is a valuable artist who has worked as an actor, painter, and a producer, and he lost his 18-month battle with cancer in 2016. But then a very interesting incident happened. Immediately after his death, a man named Jack Stephen appeared on the Sky News channel to announce Bowie's death and looked very similar to David Bowie. To his fans, he was just identical of David Bowie. Viewers immediately noticed that Stephen had an extraordinary resemblance to Bowie, suggesting that this was actually Bowie in disguise.
Jack, fortress music, and worked as a music.
An influence he is, I think, to me. Of the 26 albums I've made, I think, and to thousands and millions of people around the world, I think there were 2 when I really wasn't involved. And strangely, I was surprised. I sort of lived through John Lennon's death.
Don't look like they've come to see Phil Collins. That's what I've been used to.
It's very strange. But I think
Well, if you must know, your sister ran away.
And then I got to
Fortress music. Do beg your pardon, Jack. Fortress.
And the 3 of them, it was my birthday coming up. They clubbed together and they got me an old 1955 Mercedes, and it was rusted.
Was Jack Stephen the last character played by David Bowie? The fact that there is not much of an information about Jack Stephen on the internet strengthens this claim. Because it's funny that Jack, who introduces himself as a music industry executive, is not known by anyone. When we examine an old video of a person named Jack Stephen uploaded to the internet, we can see that he is completely different from the Jack who joined the Sky News channel. This is exactly the same as Michael Jackson's Dave thing. After his own death, Michael Jackson appeared on CNN Live in 2009 disguised as Dave. Just like Michael used Dave's name, David Bowie used Jack Stephen's name on a show. We can also see that David Bowie was inspired by the fake death of Michael Jackson. Another case is Opossum Inc., a company that Bowie left money in his will and a company which has no publicly available information anywhere. The company has zero public disclosure, it does not trade stocks in any market, and no information about it can be found. So what's interesting about this? You will ask. Opossum, the name of the company, is an animal name. A small marsupial animal tends to pretend to be dead when it doesn't want to deal with a situation it encounters. A company named after an animal that pretends to be dead when approached. Isn't that strange? It's strange and funny. I'm sure David is laughing at us.
I haven't finished yet.
Another clue is the clip called Lazarus, which Bowie released shortly before his death. Bowie portrays an aging, frail man with bandaged eyes. According to the New Testament, Lazarus died and was resurrected by Christ 4 days later. Fans suggested it was Bowie's way of hinting that he would be back. Maybe Jack Stephen was the return of Bowie. Do you think Jack Stephen could be David Bowie? Could it be that David Bowie faked his death to stay a legend in people's minds and live the rest of his life as a normal person? Do you believe that he's alive? Maybe he wanted to finish his acting career with the Jack Stephen character.
A famous star who have left our world Price, Rogers Nelson, or Prince by the stage name. Prince was born on June 7, 1958 in Minnesota. Prince, a singer, songwriter, musician, producer, and actor, was ranked 28th by Rolling Stones magazine on the list of the best musicians of all time. He was considered a living legend. He was a pop icon. He was found dead in his home on April 21, 2016. But then millions of his fans began to believe that the musician's death was a hoax and that he was still alive and well. Fans began to investigate the strange and contradictory circumstances surrounding Prince's death and presented indisputable evidence that the musician is still alive. Since his death, hundreds of eyewitnesses have claimed to have seen him in many cities around the world, in shopping malls, in Texas, even in a restaurant in Minneapolis. They claimed that the numbers on the shirt in the photo he shared on her official Instagram account in 2015 contained a number of messages. The sum of the numbers on your chest, 1/916, that is, 2016 symbolizes the year in which he died. The number 57 on the right represents the age at which he died. The numbers on his arm symbolize the hour he died. According to official records, Prince died at 10:07, but CPR began at about 9:50. Before he died, he changed his name in his ID. His real name is Prince Roger Nelson on his birth certificate, while his death certificate says Prince Rogers Nelson. And finally, it is claimed by fans that Prince attended the 2016 American Music Awards disguised as his sister, Tyka Nelson. Hundreds of people say under the video in question that they definitely believe that the person who attended the ceremony that day was Prince.
Prince defied the odds. A black teen from Minneapolis with a goal to electrify the world. He had the courage to be different.
My opinion. He might be alive even we don't see much evidence. But if he is alive, I think he was inspired by Michael Jackson. Because I think a few things are the same. Just like Michael, he passed away on Thursday. Just like Michael, before he died, he changed his name on his ID and gave some messages by numbers. Prince might have even knew that Michael was going to fake his death since 2001. I haven't found the recording yet, but according to information passed to me, Prince said in an interview in 2001, Michael is preparing for something very big. I think his likelihood is 80%. American actor Paul Walker, who was born on September 12, 1973 in California, died at the age of 40 in a car accident that took place in 2013. But then details were noticed that would confuse millions of people. Paul was a professional racing driver. The person driving the car was a more skilled racing driver than him. Does it make sense for someone so professional to run into a tree on a wide road? Does it make sense that a solid car made of steel like a Porsche hits a small tree and gets destroyed, and there is no damage to the tree? Does it make sense that in a technological wonder city like Los Angeles, there is no image of the moment of the accident? Does it make sense that the license plate of the crashed vehicle and the vehicle Paul and his friend were riding in are different? There were many illogical chain of events in the details, such as the happy state of Paul's girlfriend after the accident, and the fact that his father was constantly laughing during the interview after the accident. An American citizen's claim that he saw Paul Walker after the accident supported the theory that he was not dead. The citizen who said he saw Paul said that Paul's death was completely a conspiracy. Do you think Paul is really alive? And if he's alive, why would he fake his death? Was it all for a commercial for the Fast and the Furious movie? Now we have come to the top 3 people on the list with the strongest evidence. Tupac Shakur, also known as the King of Rap Music, or Tupac for short, was assassinated in Las Vegas on September 7, 1996, after a boxing match of Mike Tyson. After struggling to hold on to life for 6 days, he lost his life on September 13, 1996. But millions of his fans never believed in this death, because they have many evidence to not believe. For years, many websites and so-called eyewitness news have been making statements about the fact that Tupac Shakur is not dead. Even Tupac Shakur's best friend, Suge Knight, the man who was driving the car on the day of the assassination, claimed that he was alive. Suge Knight explained in an exclusive interview with him on September 22, 2017, that his friend did not lose his life at that time. Tupac and a few of his friends wanted him to be shown dead, and he was smiling and chatting while I was next to him in the hospital. Tupac was not dead at the time, he said. With this, in 2019, Suge's son, Suge Jar, had claimed that Tupac Shakur was alive and well and working on new music in a studio. Todd Anthony Shaw, known by the stage name Too Short, a friend of Tupac, also revealed that he didn't believe Tupac was dead. In 2017, former policeman David Myers, who said he helped fake Tupac's death, admitted on his deathbed that Tupac was not dead. Speaking to the British newspaper The Mirror, David said, "The world needs to know what I have done, and I can't die without letting the world know about it." Myers also claims that he was paid $1.05 million to cover up the incident, adding he just wanted to get away from everything. He had dozens of songs released after his death. There are songs in which he emphasizes that he is not dead, and even curses those who believe that he is dead. In fact, in the clip of I Ain't Mad at Joe, which he shot 2 days before his death, Tupac is shot dead, just like in real life. Fans who believe that Tupac is not dead reminds people of Tupac's nickname. After the shooting of '94, Tupac went to prison for a rape case filed against him in late '93. During his time in prison, he constantly read books and had plenty of time to think about some things. Among the books he read, there was books of Italian thinker and statesman who is considered the founder of history and political science, and military strategist, poet, and playwright Machiavelli. Machiavelli had a thought that said a man should not live only one life in the world and fake his death and live many different lives. Tupac's family had high-ranking powers in the powerful and large Black Panther organization, which was a headache for the government. For this reason, there were mafia, government agents, policemen who tried to catch his slightest mistake and were looking for an opportunity to kill him. It was almost impossible for Tupac to live a few more years. All that aside, Tupac's life was difficult. All the money he earned was going into debt, and the courts, new cases were constantly being opened. His money was melting, his time was passing in the courts. Starting a new life from scratch, getting away from all this stress and war, would have been perhaps the best decision for Tupac. Could he have faked his death? One of Machiavelli's strategies that he adopted in order to get rid of his enemies and start a new life? When we consider that he also uses the phrases beating your enemies by faking death in his songs, the fake death plan does not seem impossible. Cowards die. The old ones fall alone, but I'm a soldier. I live forever. I plan everything, and I'm so crazy. This world has driven me crazy. I heard rumors that I was dead, that I was murdered in cold blood. Pictures of my dead body. You know Mom was crying, but it was a lie. A coward twisted the story. I can't add some songs here because they have curse words in them, but I have to say that lyrics such as I will never die. I will come back in a new body are common. A new life in a new body. Could Tupac really have built a new life? Finally, let's come to the theory of Akil the EMC. Akil the MC is a Muslim rapper living in Los Angeles, California. His resemblance to Tupac attracts the attention of Tupac fans. Akil's bandmates in the rap music group Jurassic 5 are as interesting as he is, because just like him, looking like Tupac, his friend and group member Shali looks like Yaki Gaddafi, who was a close friend to Tupac and got killed 2 months after Tupac's death. Wait, it's not over yet. The person nicknamed Soup, who is in the group, also looks like the famous rapper, the Notorious Big. The chain of coincidences doesn't end there either. The person nicknamed Mark 7 in the band looks like Hussein Fatal. Elvis Aaron Presley, American singer, musician, actor. He is known worldwide as the E-King of rock and roll, or King for short. He passed away on August 16, 1977, after his last concert in Indianapolis in 1977. In a statement after his death, Dr. Jerry Francisco said that his death was caused by heart failure. But since the date of his death, theories have emerged that will go all the way to the CIA. His fans never believed that he was dead. It was claimed that Elvis was seen thousands of times after his death. There was even a museum in the state of Missouri called Elvis is Alive, which was visited by thousands of people. They even hold parties at Graceland, Elvis's venue, where they wait for his return every year. According to some conspiracy theories, a black helicopter that landed at Graceland hours before Elvis Presley's body had smuggled him to Bermuda. It was also amazing that Elvis had a plane ticket from Memphis to Argentina in the name of Joan Burroughs, the pseudonym he used when checking into the hotels. Some say he was an informant for the FBI to infiltrate a mafia organization, hiding his identity after death threats. Gail Brewer, Giorgio's 1988 bestseller Is Elvis Presley Alive?, had also claimed that the singer had escaped from the mafia. Speaking to Time magazine in the US, Giorgio says Presley is an American hero who worked undercover for the FBI. I don't know if Elvis is still alive today, but Elvis didn't die on August 16. I'm sure of it, he said. Allegedly, Elvis infiltrated the mafia organization called the Fraternity in 1976 and acted as an agent for the FBI. The FBI chose Elvis because he had previously contacted the organization to sell his private plane. According to the FBI documents that Giorgio reached, Elvis was put into the witness protection program by the FBI when the organization realized that he was an informant. He wanted to be thought that he was dead because of the mafia's death threats, and they helped him. Some of his fans think Elvis faked his death to stay as a legend in his fans' eyes because he was recently fighting with obesity. But is there any evidence that he is alive? Some of the people who attended Elvis's funeral were quite sure that he was not the person in the coffin. The man in the coffin said that his nose, eyebrows, and most importantly, his appearance did not look much like Elvis Presley, and inside the coffin was a wax sculpture. Indeed, the person in the coffin did not look like Elvis. The second suspicious thing was the misspelling of his name on the tombstone. It said Elvis Aaron Presley, but Elvis's middle name was Aaron, not Aaron with single A. Another interesting claim was linked to a scene from the movie Home Alone, which was released in 1990, about 13 years after the date of Elvis's death. According to allegations, the person standing behind the character named Kate McAllister in an airport scene of the film was Elvis Presley himself. In those years, the airport scene was talked about so much that the director of the film on the subject, Christopher Columbus, said, "These people are convinced that that man is Elvis Presley. They thought he was pretending to be dead and that he was an extra on Home Alone because he still loved show business. Look at this guy. He's not Elvis Presley," he had to explain. In 2016, a bearded man wearing a baseball cap at Graceland made the fans think he was Elvis. His fans believe that he is now living under the name Bob Joyce. Bob Joyce, a musician, also teaches people as a Christian preacher. He also shares some of his speeches on YouTube. Most Elvis fans believe Bob is Elvis and post analysis videos on YouTube. When examined carefully, there is indeed a similarity.
1. Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson is one of the celebrities with the most evidence supporting fake death theories. Those who believe he is alive point to various details, like clues caught in public, conflicting statements from his family, facial recognition analyses, and even different voice tones used in interviews. However, discussing these theories in depth requires a lengthy exploration. For more, you can check out our videos on Michael Jackson's fake death theories on this channel, and you can even access a 50-minute comprehensive analysis video through the end screen.